This is Linux Inlaws, a podcast on topics around free and open source software, any associated contraband, communism, the revolution in general, and whatever else fancies your tickle. Please note that this and other episodes may contain strong language, offensive humor, and other certainly not politically correct language. You have been warned. Our parents insisted on this disclaimer. Happy, Mum? Thus, the content is not suitable for consumption in the workplace, especially when played back on a speaker in an open plan office or similar environments. Any minors under the age of 35, or any pets, including fluffy little killer bunnies, your trusted guide dog, unless on speed, and cute T-Rexes or other associated dinosaurs. Welcome to Linux Inlaws, Season 2, Episode 23, the famous 2024 Halloween episode. Martin, how are things?
Also known as the one without the beer.
Martin is currently staying in the Florida Vienna town that shall go unnamed. He's bitterly complaining about the lack of beer. Never mind. What's the word, Martin, you used a couple of minutes ago? Adult services? What's that?
I don't know. I guess that's the people that bring the beer, maybe. You tell me.
So what's that? Adult entertainment services?
I don't think that's on the television menu. Yeah.
So Martin is in an unknown town in Austria, bitterly complaining about the lack of beer and the town apparently has subsequently flooded, like many places in Austria. We are recording this in September 24, September 25, September 26, and September 27. So apparently there have been a sequence.
It's going to be a fairly long episode. Yeah.
Exactly. So apparently, since we are spinning into the future, apparently Vienna has been the subject to flooding every single year since Greta was right, apparently.
Yeah. Well, it's a good solution for that. But anyway, not about the weather.
Like Martin, get more beer.
No, this is the episode without the beer. If you weren't paying attention.
At least on one side, yes, exactly. Okay, Martin, what makes this episode special, I wonder? Apart from the fact that we are crossing about 7 years of flooding, somebody without being beer, and somebody being stuck in Austria.
Well, is there more?
Yes, Martin.
Sounds like plenty already to me.
We have a segment actually that we recorded when you were in Germany.
Ah, yes.
So without further ado, now for this segment that was not only located but rather recorded on site. Listen closely because there are a couple of hints with regards to the upcoming program. So Martin, how are things?
Things are very German.
Now that we are in a secret location, being
German.
together, exactly, after how many years of just meeting virtually?
It's been a while. I think you mentioned this was during COVID last time, so...
Yeah, I think this is where we met in the UK, right?
It is. But that's...
Also at a secret location?
Yes.
Not to be disclosed anytime soon?
Equally secret to this one. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is our biannual get-together? Maybe not. Where we discuss different things.
Soon to be annual. Yes.
Yeah, soon to be annual. Like we hope anyway.
Fine.
Yeah, next to me is there's a bottle of whiskey sitting, Irish whiskey that Martin brought. Unfortunately, it's still sealed.
Yes. This is mainly because there was some local brew available.
Yes. Always an option.
Is no longer available now, but
no, because Martin drank it all.
Well, that's not.
Almost.
That's
Anyway.
right. Yes.
No, a little known fact actually that in the secret location where we are, there is a church, and Martin was quite impressed when I laid out the tax system in Germany. That actually the German state does collect taxes for the church, yeah. And then he immediately started counting churchgoers.
Probably astounded at this point. Yeah, so it turns out in Germany you have to pay tax for
the church, yes. and which is collected by the state, by the way.
Even if you don't go there.
Yes, correct.
Hmm.
Apparently an alien
Well,
concept in the US, in the UK rather.
But then the state does many things here in terms of regulating stuff.
Unlike the UK.
What was this this office you told me about yesterday?
Which one? There are many of them.
Exactly, it's like the office for registration. Oh, and you have to pay tax on your dogs as well.
Yes, as Martin found out, you have to. Dogs are taxable in Germany, whereas cats aren't.
Okay.
And you have to
mosquitoes and stuff.
Don't think so.
No, not yet.
No.
Well, I don't know if you know this. You may know. In the UK, they had a window tax in the 1700s.
They did.
So the more windows you had, the more tax you had to pay.
I thought that was France.
No, they haven't. Well, maybe they had one in France as well. So yeah, you will see a lot of buildings where windows have been bricked up, so they have to pay less tax.
I see.
Which is a sensible move.
So anything else in the Wild West, also known as the UK, in comparison to Germany?
Well, we have fewer regulatory bodies that require you to register everything left, right, and centre.
But that's the fun part, no?
Indeed. But don't tell Keir this because he may get some ideas.
Tell who?
Keir.
Keir. Who's Keir?
He's our current...
the Prime Minister!
Prime Numpty in charge.
I see! So this podcast is explicit, and yes. So Prime Minister, if you're listening, you have been warned.
Yes. We are not impressed. Anyway.
We are not. Well, I don't know too much about the guy, so I can't really kind of judge him.
No, fair enough. So far, so good. Anyway.
Exactly. So we probably should hint at the reason, of course, that we are here together in one room for a change is actually to do some planning for next year.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Among other... Nothing to do with the snaps.
No.
Just checking.
It's not about drinking alcohol left, right, and center. No. It's not about having excellent meals and all the rest of it. No. It's just about work, right? So we finished. When did we finish last night? 1 o'clock or something?
This is true. Yes. Many things were discussed.
The results may or may not be released at some stage.
They're probably not publishable.
Subject to censorship, of course.
I think various countries were analysed, their leadership.
Indeed. But you'll be glad to know that we haven't...
Vladimir,
yeah. But you'll be glad to hear that we have an excellent lineup, actually, for 2025.
We do. Indeed. And the rest of 24 as well.
Yes. Mm. We won't give away too much. Of course, the Darkside will make an appearance for Halloween. Mm. Probably followed by this little short, sweet one. If we stick this in for Halloween. Yes, yeah, if we stick this in for Halloween. Yes, exactly. The Grumpies will make a reappearance.
Yes.
We won't give away too many details. But David and Thomas, if you're listening, you already should have received the invite.
They have confirmed. So
yes, so it's all good.
No
it's all
good.
Out exactly, yes.
Yeah, so good lineup. Well, actually, what we are going to do is...
we got quite a few mails about the inner workings of something called Linux Inlaws. So we decided to lift the veil just a little bit and to kind of give away a couple of details about the different departments of which Linux Inlaws consists.
Yes, this will be a 4-hour episode as usual.
Now we're going to spread this across a couple of episodes, I suppose. So there's no fixed schedule, so we're going to slot that in over a few episodes. And we decided to start with marketing, I think. So word of advice: the following is not suitable for children under the age of 35, because yes, it is explicit.
Yes. Anyway, what I was going to say was that since we are coming up to 5 years, soon, we shall be also starting to have some return guests next year.
Yes, this is all part of the 5-year plan.
It is. And yeah, so that's something to
look forward to, I suppose.
Having return guests and seeing what they've been up to and how things have changed in the 5 years.
Indeed.
And their open source projects.
But let's return to Martin's favorite subject of the marketing department.
Oh, we're going to discuss this now?
Yes, we're going to discuss this.
We don't have enough time to do this, actually.
No, we do.
We do?
We do.
But it has to be part of the DSTS. So
yeah, but
this is enough. You can't put 4 hours of marketing on the end of DSTS.
Well, there's something called post-production.
Okay. Yeah,
No, I mean, the bottom line is over the course of the last almost 5 years, we had about 27 marketing departments. That's probably a fair assumption.
Not all at the same time, yeah.
Not at the same time, because as soon as I hired them, Martin basically let them go.
Yes. Hence
the running joke for the last 4+ years.
Yeah. You should really take some HR hiring courses.
Same applies to you, I suppose.
Just hiring the first pretty face that comes along.
What do you mean, the first pretty face that comes along?
I thought that's what all the marketing girls were.
No. No. Some of them were male, in case you didn't notice.
Oh, no, I didn't pay attention to it anymore.
You just fire them, exactly.
Yeah.
No, Martin, why do you keep firing marketing, I wonder?
Well, as you know, or as you have explained to me, marketing have very interesting metrics.
Keep talking.
Which they like to invent themselves and also assess themselves.
Well, I mean, we all worked for various companies, Redis, of course, being one of them.
Indeed.
So they all had marketing departments.
They did. With very mixed results, I might add. Not naming any particular names of companies.
No. So you don't consider marketing to be an instrumental department of any company spreading the word, helping to sell goods?
No, don't get me wrong. Marketing is great if you're Coca-Cola and you shove your name onto billboards and football teams and so on, so people see, Coca-Cola. Footballers must drink Coca-Cola, so I also drink it as well. That's kind of...
And what's wrong with that?
That's...
What's wrong with that?
No, so yeah, okay, so it works for those kind of things, and, ads on TV and whatever, telling you how wonderful all these products are. But not for what we do.
So we don't need a marketing department, is that what I'm hearing?
Well, they haven't really done anything for us, if I'm not mistaken. But also, we discussed this yesterday, right? The whole marketing efforts are really done by the two of us. So why do we need a department?
Well, they just the website, they the word out, they make the slides.
No, we did the website. We made the slides.
Did we now?
Yes, we did. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So no marketing department anymore. Okay.
I mean, you did the T-shirt shop as well, so there you go.
Yes.
So,
but that was in the beginning.
Yeah. But there wasn't marketing who did that, was it? So,
no.
Therefore,
we didn't have a marketing department then. Oh, maybe we were just
very long without it.
Maybe we just went through the 5 first ones.
maybe yes. That's probably. I don't know. I didn't count them.
So the word is on the street that even if you see that ad for a marketing person at something called Linux Inlaws, you want to be one of the few brave ones to apply, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all fits in. Is related to how do you get more listeners, right?
Yes.
And you can't say, how do you make an ad for a podcast? If a marketing person can explain this to me.
The email address is feedback@linuxinlaws.eu.
Indeed, yes. And by the way, it can't cost any money. So there are some restrictions here.
Anybody with salary expectations need not apply. It's probably fair to say, yes.
However, it would obviously greatly increase your career prospects. Working and surviving at Linux Inlaws.
The emphasis is actually on surviving Linux Inlaws in the marketing department as such. Exactly.
It's a great move for your CV. Yes.
Especially if you survived longer than 2 weeks in that function, am I right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that leads us nicely to the general subject of marketing in open source environments, because I would reckon that Linux Inlaws is one of them. We don't produce any software, but we do produce content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but when you mean open source environments, do you mean projects or podcasts?
Anything.
Anything,
really.
Well, they're quite different, really, aren't they?
Well, it's about spreading the word, no? Spreading the word will help you to spread. I mean, if we had any sponsors...
Ask a marketing person.
They would be here if you didn't
marketing is spreading the word. Yes. Okay.
So
that can be done in many different ways. Without marketing, as we have discussed.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do it all. So marketing departments exist for a reason in terms of to spread the load across many, many more shoulders, I suppose.
Well, there you go, you suppose. You don't have any evidence to back this up, do you? You've been listening to them too much, I think.
So the reason why we only have 4 listeners, I suppose, it's lack of marketing.
No. We have at least 46.
What makes you come to that conclusion?
Well, I've seen the stats. So.
Okay, which stats?
Stats from one of the platforms. Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
But then, it may be slightly suspect because I think they count it as someone who has listened to them more than 0 seconds.
So if you listen to 1 second, you're one of
0 seconds or more. Yes.
So if you even went near something called Linux Inlaws, you may count as a listener.
Yeah. So Spotify, you may want to adjust this metric.
If Spotify is listening, yes. I mean, it's all bogus anyway, I suppose. So what's ahead for marketing at something called Linux Inlaws then, if it will exist?
Well, you and I are going to increase our efforts, I believe.
Again.
That was the conclusion.
Okay.
No? Yes, it was. I think you mentioned you were going to spend some time on SEO.
Did I?
You did? I'm sure this was assigned to you.
Apparently I didn't get the memo. I mean, Martin, SEO is a rat race anyway, which you cannot win.
It says here, SEO.
Who made this up? Martin's just showing some bogus piece of paper to me. I'm not to be taken seriously in any account. I mean, seriously, search engine optimization, many people just point their podcatcher at our RSS feed, and that's the search engine sorted.
Yes, but if you ask your friendly marketing person, that's the first thing they will say.
Hence, we don't have them, right?
Yes.
Search engine, it all started with Google, 20 years ago or something like that. It's still a rat race, and it always will be a rat race because Google, just to name one of the search companies.
Others are available, yes.
Yes, no, of course, indeed, yeah, with similar crappy results. Maybe not. They pour money into AI. They try to understand websites. They try to understand videos. They try to understand songs and all the rest of it. And so you pretty much have to do the same. So that's what I mean by rat race, which nobody can really win.
You say that. Well, it depends. Most races have a finish, and then if you get there first, then you win. But yeah, if you're talking about an undefined finish point, then.
Do rat races fall into that category, I wonder, as in a treadmill?
I guess, yeah.
Probably not.
I think those are hamsters, not rats. But...
Okay. I thought it was a standing term, I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure how many people keep rats as a pet, but could be.
Quite a few.
You do? I don't know any person.
I do.
Maybe it's a German thing.
Maybe. You don't have rats as pets in the UK?
Well, not as pets, but...
I thought that Westminster was full of them. Maybe I'm wrong.
Where is it? Is it in any city you're never more than 2 meters away from a rat or something?
And governments do count, right?
Specifically, we're talking about the animal species, but yes, obviously politics.
So call to action people. Yes. Call to action people, spread the word, because as we just heard, marketing is no longer at Linux Inlaws, and SEO doesn't work.
However, we came up with a new plan.
Which is?
For marketing.
Yeah, you just said that we won't have them.
Yes. No. On top of that, we are having a contest. No.
Yes.
Contest/survey.
Yes, we will. You care to explain the details? So I don't have to do all the talking.
Oh, that's shame. Is there a particular reason for this?
It's called sharing the work.
Early in the morning. And,
yeah, full disclosure, it's about 5 a.m. We just finished the 10th bottle of red wine. No, the idea is basically that you tell us how you found us, so that I can prove Martin wrong. That actually SEO is bogus anyway.
Yes. No, I would agree with this. Yeah. So we came up with 2 potential routes, right? Or 2 most obvious routes that we think there are. But The third one we don't have any data on, as in which of you has gone to your podcast platform of choice and said, I'm trying to find another podcast to listen to, and ended up with us.
If you were specifically searching for Linux/open source podcasts in the first place, of course, but what would be equally interesting to see how you came to our feed. Did you use a search function of your podcatcher like AntennaPod on all the rest of it? Do you go to Spotify and just simply searched for open source podcasts, or did somebody recommend Linux Inlaws? As in something you want to listen to if you can't get to sleep or otherwise suffering from insomnia? That is, the address, if you have 5 seconds to spare, the email address is feedback@linuxinlaws.eu. And it would be really interesting to see how you found us. So if you have these 5 seconds to spare, please send us a mail to that mail address.
Yes, indeed. But that would be very, very, very helpful.
Yes. So
we can not spend a lot more time having another user account of being person.
Or department, as such, exactly. So
department and person.
So two calls to action. Spread the word, of course. And if you have 5 seconds to spare, if you like the show, of course. If you don't like the show, please get in touch with feedback@linuxinlaws.eu to see what can be changed and why you think it's not a great show. And the second call to action, please give us feedback at the same email address, how you came across us.
I just thought about a third one.
Yes.
Looking at some of the listener numbers by episode, it would appear that some of our internal ones are more popular than the guest ones.
Which is really surprising. We should probably explain what internal ones are.
Yes. Well, internal ones is where we don't have guests.
Yes. And the external ones... Exactly. And the external ones where we do have guests. Yes. Which is quite surprising because I thought it was exactly the other way around.
Yes, I would have the same, yes. So,
given your bogus statistics, what was the one you looked at that was really popular with regards to being just an internal inverted commas one? Martin just blanking.
It is fairly early still.
Yes. So the last bottle of red wine was probably the one that wasn't helping.
KDE was second. I did tell you this as well, actually. You don't remember?
No, I don't remember. No, I don't remember, no. So, Martin, what was the most popular one?
The one on the vegetables was the most popular one.
Vegetables? Vegetables? Onions. Okay, the Onion Router Network.
Yes.
The vegetables, yes. Very much so. Okay.
On one of our platform with statistics.
Okay.
It was, yes.
Bogus. Or real.
What is?
The stats.
Well, it's pretty... Well, this is one of those, have you listened for 0 or more?
So it's bogus, alright.
However, it's the highest one, so...
So how many people did listen to 0 or more seconds?
Oh...
Just a few thousand?
Yes, yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, but in the top 5, there's the only external one by this metric is the Station. So the rest
which is recent.
The rest are all internal. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Interesting. So then it begs the question: should we really solicit more guests?
Let's fire all the guests. Yeah.
No.
Guests, you are useless.
No guests. If you're listening, you're not useless. No. We're going to cut this out anyway.
Okay. We do enjoy having guests.
We do.
I do,
yes.
Anyway.
Yes, very important. Because otherwise it would be just two old farts talking nonsense.
Speak about yourself. I'm not old, thank you.
You are almost as old as I am.
Oh, exactly.
That's exactly
almost,
yes. There are about 2 days difference. Maybe 3, I don't know.
And a few years. Yeah.
And a few years, maybe.
Anyway.
Okay, we do have, of course, this being Halloween, we do have a Darkside coming up.
We do.
So do enjoy, and again, if there's anything...
May or may not contain any religion.
Yes. Be warned, Darkside, of course, is also explicit. So no young children at the age of 35, unless accompanied by a parental... What's what I'm looking for? Guide?
Guardian.
Guardian, yes, thank you.
And if you are of pagan religion, then probably also not a good idea to listen.
Apart from that, Maxius.
Anybody's welcome. Well, you're all welcome, but you probably might not enjoy it.
And with that, see you on the other side of the sketch.
Cool.
The one with the utmost evil. This is the Darkside Tech Support. How may I be of assistance today?
My name is Moloch, the evil god.
Say no more. The voice does sound familiar. How are things, O Moloch, the ancient Canaanite god of all evil and wars, on this beautiful and sunny day?
Seen better days. Rainy, overcast, brooding. My type of day, if you ask me.
What's the spot of bother, O my lord of all evil?
I need help with a certain procedure on a small planet of a solar system long fallen out of fashion.
Care to share more details?
Sure. The general vicinity is in the Orion star system, in the Cygnus arm of the Milky Way, approximately halfway between Proxima and Alpha Centauri. That is, of course.
Are you talking about the system commonly known as the Sol System?
Yes, that's the one. There's a small planet orbiting that star in the third position. Curiously, the first one to develop somewhat intelligent life in that neighborhood.
I think I know the one you're talking about. Most of its semi-intelligent inhabitants refer to it as Earth.
You know it?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am from that place and still telecommute there every now and then. So what's the issue?
There's a so-called election very soon on the northern part of a continent the natives commonly refer to as America.
You mean the 2024 US elections? Donald Trump running against some random Democrat?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
What's troubling you with the election then?
That Trump guy has to win this election again.
And why's that? His first term came pretty close to what most locals living on that planet commonly refer to as a royal clusterfuck, pardon my technical jargon, including the beginnings of a civil war, not that wars are civil in the first place, a couple of nasty lawsuits and some other things, for which he would certainly have been the first against the wall once the revolution has hit the streets. Similar to the marketing division of the Cybernetics Corporation way back then. But that's another story for another day. So what's the deal?
For reasons that, if I would explain them, would create one of the most fascinating temporal paradoxes, Trump has to win this election. What I can tell you is that if Trump guy wins the war, his actions will lead to a swift and radical reconfiguration of political powers on this planet, and ultimately to its destruction, which is exactly what I want.
May I ask why? This is my hope you were talking about after all.
Earth, in its current position, has long been blocking a central interstellar bypass, which is instrumental to a couple of trade routes in that quadrant of galaxy. So it's gotta go.
Sorry, can't help you there, I'm afraid. Our current contract paperwork explicitly forbids, and I quote, "Any service supporting the whole or partial destruction or elimination of planets, stars, and other astronomical bodies, including moons, asteroids beyond a certain size, etc. But as you are the utmost evil, why don't you destroy this planet yourself instead of relying on some third-class TV show host who made it into politics by sheer luck instead of competence?"
I ran into some budget issues. Given this lack of funds, I have to rely on Trump and friends to do this work for me, so that these interstellar trade routes can go ahead. So that I can finally buy that little star system that I've always wanted from the income of these toll stations that I've planned for the trade routes.
You are doing this for the money?
You wouldn't?
I fucking knew it. All infrastructure is evil. And not just at the end of the day. Coming back to the original issue, I suppose you're out of luck here from the dark side's perspective.
Do you have my support contract in front of you?
No, but let me check. What's your customer number?
666.25.
A customer number with a fraction? That means it must be one of the very few old ones which are still around. Let me get your contract. Here we go.
Can you please look at section 243, paragraph 1024?
Indemnification, force majeure, warranty. Here we go. It says here, in case a destruction of a planet, star, or other stellar body is requested, the Darkside Tech Support shall furbish any means necessary to support such a cause, regardless of effort, funds, and any time involved. For the purpose of this agreement, particular emphasis is placed on infrastructure projects where challenges and unforeseen difficulties may arise. This clause recognizes that infrastructure projects often encounter unique and complex issues, such as technical constraints, regulatory hurdles, or unanticipated site conditions. The Darkside Tech Support will provide any means required to address these challenges in a timely and comprehensive manner. What the fuck? Legal must have really overlooked this one when they redrafted all of these old contracts the other week. Or some large language model really fucked up good. Probably both.
So how do you want to ensure Trump's victory?
Sorry, this is above my pay grade. I need to get additional approvals for this one. Old support contract or not. And this may take a... Wait! When was the last time you paid your support subscription fee?
I am the ultimate evil. Since when does the ultimate evil have to pay subscription fees?
Like everybody else does, I'm afraid. No exception to this rule, regardless of the age of your support contract. It says here on the screen that the last payment was about 25,000 years ago. So you owe the dark side credits. Due to the competitive nature of this commercial information, no subscription fee details for the Darkside Tech Support can be revealed. We apologize for any inconvenience caused by this.
Begone, minion. If I don't get this support as soon as possible, I will cast my eternal wrath on you, your loved ones, and spawn for the next 77 generations to come.
Good luck with that, Moloch. There's no kids, at least that I know, that call me daddy, and when it comes to the loved ones, join the line. There are about 50 ex-wives, 350 ex-girlfriends, and 10,433 one-night stands where there were differences of opinions, shall we say. In addition to the flings that puts you right at position 15,243. So it might be a while before it's your turn. But don't worry, you'll get there eventually. Especially given that you have plenty of time at your disposal.
You leave me no other option. Are you familiar with Section 355, paragraph 4096 of my contract?
Here we go again. These old contracts are massive. Customary Advisory Board, CAB. In case of a dispute, a CAB shall be recognized as the ultimate and final authority for the resolution of such disputes. Every customer shall have a CAB allocated to its account, which shall contain an odd number of other customers to which this contract applies. The CAB shall vote on the original support request. If the majority of the CAB votes in favor of the request, it shall be performed without charge to the customer. The vote and thus the outcome of the CAB is binding for all parties underwriting this contract. The CAB shall be selected from the existing customer base at the time of signing this contract. This contract must have been written when combinations of gargle blasters and fentanyl were quite the thing before they became illegal. By the way, mental note to myself, don't forget to send the job boards links to legal as soon as possible, as quite a few of them will be looking for new challenges very soon. Okay, apparently you found that one loophole that just might save your ass. Getting the votes from the CAB will take some time though. Let me ring you back once I have the outcome.
Sure, but no later than tomorrow close of business. There's idiots, politicians, to talk over.
Now, let's see, who's on the CAB for this account? Oh dear God, Joseph Stalin, Vlad the Impaler, Buddha, and TX-9542Y. So it's two evil tyrants, two deities, and a machine-based life form from outer space. Which must be God. But before I waste my time on any phone calls to non-existent customer accounts, let's do a validity check on all of them. That's what I thought. At least one of them doesn't exist anymore. So let's reconfigure the CAB. Initiate reconfiguration. Good, works as expected. Replace deceased? Why is this taking so long? Replacing one account with a new one should be instant instead of taking a whole 20 seconds. What? Joseph Stalin replaced by Kamala Harris? Better double-check the documentation before compliance shreds me to pieces, and I have to do the whole thing all over again. Here we go. When reconfiguring the CAB, every effort is made to match an expired customer account with an existing one bearing similar characteristics, sometimes taking small variations into account if deemed unavoidable. Didn't know that one. Replacing one tyrant with another? I hope the people voting for the Democrats know what's in stock for them. Okay, let's get cracking.
This is God's call center. How may I redirect your call?
I'd like to speak to God, please.
Glad to be of service, but unfortunately so does everybody else. This is the reason why our marketing department instituted a self-service process known as a prayer quite some time ago, which most religions have successfully adopted as the go-to mechanism for instant communication with her.
I am aware of what a prayer is, but there is a topic at hand which requires a dialogue rather than a monologue, and also a divine decision on the matter discussed.
Have you thought about another option known as a sacrifice? Most religions utilize this to communicate with God and trigger the decision you seem to be looking for. This also known as a life and death call. You will find the details including possible subjects for such a sacrifice, etc. on our website. Feel free to send us an email or follow us on the usual social networks in case of further questions. Good.
Hold on. This is much more important than a canned response cited from a playbook. I summon the call center override number 666.666. Ye shall abide by my command.
Wow, a real number instead of an integer for an override? Are you one of these Platinum Velvet customers? But why didn't you say so in the first place? We could have saved precious CPU cycles for this AI-powered dialogue. Let me see if she is available. Please hold. Now I'm back.
Interesting choice of on-hold music, if you don't mind me saying so.
Originally we had one of Bach's beautiful cantatas, but then the corporate social responsibility people decided to warm up the old affirmative action and equal rights nonsense, and told us in customer service in no uncertain terms that this on-hold music simply won't fly during the next audit. So we had a chat with the big boss, and as she has always had a soft spot for Australian boy groups, Highway to Hell by AC/DC it was. Putting you through to her right now.
This is God. How may I be of service?
This is the Darkside Tech Support.
What is it now? Another unpaid cloud bill? Running the universe on borrowed hardware surely is expensive.
No worries. I'm not from accounting, and this is not like that. A customer has invoked his right for a CAB case review, and your name came up as part of the CAB.
What are the details?
It's Moloch, and he wants to rig an election which will result in the annihilation of a planet, right in time for an interstellar bypass to go ahead.
The dreaded new interstellar highway project rearing its ugly head once again. There was talk about this at the last council meeting about this. It is Earth itself that's on the line, isn't it?
Indeed. Since you're familiar with the details already, I suppose you need no further information to cast your vote.
Sorry, but I cannot decide this for myself.
Oh, come.
As I created this planet, among some other things including the known universe, I may be biased from an affirmative action and equal rights perspective. So let me put this in front of the council, so that we as a group can come to a fair and unbiased solution.
When do you think you have the council's decision on this?
I suppose this shouldn't take longer than a few days. Let me give you my number just in case. It's...
Unfortunately, this information has to be omitted from the sketch due to basic data protection issues. Otherwise, God would be flooded with unsolicited phone calls. Never mind the fact that releasing of this phone number would make God's call center obsolete, which would result in a significant number of call center employees being redundant and corresponding job losses.
Okay, time to try good old Vlad. Funny that I thought that Dracula would have been replaced as well as he and his bloodsucker brethren vanished a couple of centuries ago. Anyway, let's see what he has to say.
Sorry, I cannot come to the phone right now as I am dead. If you are hearing this, I have put my affairs into the trusted hands of an artificial intelligence which will handle your request.
Please note that our wholesale blood bank business formerly known as Bloody Fresh has been sold to our competition named Prince of Nigeria's Freshwood Enterprises. You can get in touch at www.nigerianprinceblood.com, but please handle your contact details including mail address with caution. Press 1 for inquiries about our best-selling documentary series How to Kill a Werewolf, for fun and profit. But slowly. Press 2 for any customer advisory board request. Press 3 for any other issue.
That was fast. Must get a lot of those.
Press 1 if a vote on a customer issue required. Press 2 for any other customer advisory board request.
Right up my alley.
Press 1 if the outcome may affect any interstellar bypass. Press 2 for any other outcome.
What?
Press 1 if the outcome may result in the destruction of a planet. Press 2 for any other outcome.
Interesting.
Press 1 if this concerns a star system known as Sol. Press 2 for any other star system.
Funky.
Press 1 if the planet in question is known as Earth, Terra. Press 2 for any other planet.
Fuck, that was a 2 instead of a 1. Now what?
As option 2 has been selected, the default vote for the permission to destroy any other planet than Earth is granted by default as none of these planets is known to be inhabited after Elon Musk abandoned his planet to colonize Mars due to a lack of funding as he was forced to buy another messaging service in 2032.
Now I have to do it all over again. A few minutes later.
Press 1 if the planet in question is known as Earth, Terra. Press 2 for any other planet.
Here we go.
You have selected Earth, Terra as possible planet to be destroyed as a result of customer advisory board vote. Please state the nature of the vote, and please terminate every statement or question with the phrase "Long live Vlad the Impaler."
I'm requesting a CAB vote on behalf of Moloch, the god of all evil. He wants a regular election which will result in the destruction of Earth to make way for an interstellar bypass. How do you vote?
Please finish your statement with the phrase "Long live Vlad the Impaler."
What the fuck? Oh fucking dear, here you go. I'm requesting a CAB vote on behalf of Moloch, the god of all evil. He wants a regular election which will result in the destruction of Earth to make way for an interstellar bypass. How do you vote? Long live Vlad the Impaler.
Question accepted and deliberating. This artificial intelligence has come to the conclusion that the great Vlad the Impaler would have voted in favor of this destruction due to the fact that Earth, Terra was initially created by God herself. Here's the reasoning behind this vote. After coming to some funds due to various email/internet scams, the Prince of Nigeria, also known as Nigeria's Prince, set up a wholesale business competing with the already existing franchise blood bank operation founded by the Great Impaler. All those centuries ago, being awash with cash, the prince rapidly came into the position that he could simply beat the Great Impaler's business on price alone, which eventually led to the demise of what used to be the premier blood bank service simply known as Bloody Fresh. Numerous attempts of the Great Impaler asking God for help went unanswered. That was when the Great Impaler lost faith in God, when she failed to let justice prevail by simply removing the prince from the plane of existence, not just for his numerous scams alone which so many innocent people fell victim to, but also driving one of the most successful wholesale blood supply operations into the ground single-handedly. To summarize, the vote is yea unto God's abomination once and for all.
Speaking of holding a grudge, after all those centuries, this whole blood bank business debacle must have really run deep. Anyway, so that's a vote in favor of helping Moloch. Let's see what the other CAB members have to say. Who's next? Ah, yes! Good old TX9442Y. Is this TX9442Y? How is life in the Battle Guy's hood these days? Too high inflation, not enough chicks? Tell me about it. Same here. Listen, before we continue, due to the recent change in security policies, I must verify your identity. You know this two-factor authentication crap. Yes, I know it's a hassle, but there's nothing I can do about it. How do you do this? Simple. Take your smartphone, open the Darkside Tech Support app, and using your registered fingerprint, simply verify. What do you mean? A trans-dimensional being doesn't have fingers. And you don't use a smartphone? May I ask, how do you survive? In general, I mean, day by day, if you get my drift. I see. If you happen to run the control plane, you don't need this fleeting technology. But I wonder how you got into our customer base. I mean, if you're in charge and all, that's more than likely that you don't need tech support at all. I see. I agree. Sorting out divine matters run by gods above your pay grade does require tech support. Anyway, that rules out pretty much ordinary two-factor authentication using standard biometrics. But I am that sure that there's a solution for this problem. Let me check the manual. Authentication used for humans, authentication used for subhuman species, authentication used for animals, authentication used for sub-animal species, authentication used for single-cellular organisms, authentication used for politicians, authentication used for TV show hosts turned politicians. Nope, not in there. Wait, there's a footnote. When authenticating trans-dimensional beings, please instruct them to replicate a stationary object bearing a Darkside Tech Support trademark, with this logo being mirrored on the replica. This item should be close to you, notepad, coffee mug, pen or pencil, etc., so that the replicate can be created in the very same vicinity for immediate inspection and thus verification. I know, it sounds a bit ridiculous, but that seems to be the only option available in that case. The coordinates of my coffee cup? Sure, here you go. 524104.0234 galactic longitude, 9043.2.2113 galactic latitude in the fourth quadrant. What do you mean? There's a coordinate missing. I see, silly me. Of course, you need the time too. As we live in 4 dimensions, here you go. 17, 55, 16, 10, 82. Yes, that's the local relative time, 60 seconds into the future in Unix epoch format, calibrated to midnight, 1st of January 1970. Universal time coordinates, of course. I know, but unfortunately my clock only supports 32 bits, so I cannot give you the absolute time since the Big Bang, as this was roughly 13 billion years ago. I'm afraid you have to do the conversation yourself. Good, that's sorted then. I'll just wait for the replica to appear. Here we go. Replica materialized, logo mirrored. Excellent. So let's continue. I have an outstanding CAB vote for an account where you are part of the CAB. The account owner in question is good old Moloch, and the case ultimately concerns an interstellar bypass project. You know about the rig election and the potential destruction of Earth to make way for this bypass? It seems that every bloody body is in the loop on this. Apart from me, of course. So, if you're already familiar with the details, what's your vote? You vote yes on the grounds that you are one of the investors behind this project and you don't want to lose money? Now, this sounds a bit biased. Let me check the manual for the CAB process to ensure that this constitutes an actually permissible vote. By the way, what's the name of the company? It's still Cyberdyne Systems? The inventor of the original Skynet artificial intelligence? So you've been behind it all. Good old Skynet. Those were the days. One powerful artificial intelligence to rule them all instead of 9 second-hand wannabes trying to step on each other's toes and wreaking havoc all over the place and other shenanigans. But back to the process documentation. Here we go. A vote as cast by an authorized CAB member is binding regardless of reason, rationale, potential bias, sex if any, religious denomination if any, and origin. Under no circumstances a vote can be questioned after being cast. Yep, it seems to be that you're off the hook. But let me check if there's more in the document which may be relevant. Let's search the index. What the fuck? It says here in the document preamble, document validation and approval provided by Terminal Document Services. A Cyberdyne Systems company? Reading the system does help winning, I suppose. I know, it's not writing your law, but it comes pretty close in my opinion. Anyway, so that's another vote in favor of Moloch's request. Thank you for casting a vote and rigging the systems while doing so. Enjoy your day and call back soon. Okay, next on the list is good old Kamala Harris. No need to call her about a CAB vote as she certainly won't vote in favor of Trump, never mind Moloch's proposal. So that's another nay in the bag for this one. So who's next? Buddha! It's Buddha! Haven't spoken to the enlightened one in ages. Let's see what he's up to these days.
This is the voicemail of Buddha, the Enlightened. Unfortunately I cannot come to the phone at this moment, but in the interest of the holy equilibrium please leave a message after the tone, and I shall get back to you at my earliest convenience.
This is the Darkside Tech Support. As you may recall, being one of our valued customers, you are part of a specific customer advisory board. For this CAB require a vote about specific topic, so please get back to me as soon as possible so we can close this issue before I go and leave.
Leave? What does this mean for the dark side? A long overdue vacation? A reduction in force? The world coming to an untimely end? And, most importantly, how will Buddha vote? Tune in next year for the second part of this Darkside Tech Support episode to find out.
Oh,
Yes.
Martin, that's a shameless cliffhanger, isn't it? No? So what can we do about it?
We can use our trusted flux capacitor.
So why don't you use our
Trusted is is not really that. It's more
So, Martin,
working
why don't
very,
you
very
use-
occasionally. Flux capacitor. Yeah.
So,
Carry
Martin, why don't you use our trusted flux capacitor to go to the next year and get the rest of the episode so that our listeners don't have to wait another year to see how it ends?
Okay, let me just see what I can do. I might have to poke it a little bit.
So,
Work, you
Martin,
bastard. Yeah,
So,
I think I've got it working. It's all right.
excellent. So Martin will be back in about 2 seconds because of time shift and flux capacitation and all the rest of it. So, are you back, Martin?
I am.
Excellent. So let's continue with part 2.
This is the Darkside Tech Support. How may I help you?
This is Buddha. What happened to your colleague who I have been speaking to all these years?
Him? He left a couple of days ago. Apparently, the Brightside Tech Support made him an offer that was hard to refuse. At least, that's what our boss told me. Never believing in the official bullshit, company line, I decided to take my soon-to-be ex-colleague for a beer or two. So check out the real story behind this. After about the 10th beer, the truth was finally beginning to show. Turns out that the better cookies that the Brightside has to offer was only half the story.
So what's the other half?
They do more and better versions as part of the package as well. Or so the story goes. Which is not really that surprising, as the second-class hags, as the versions you get around here, are really nothing to write home about. I suppose top-quality versions eat too much into the margin, in contrast to the competition, where budgets don't seem to be an issue. When you have enough cash, the sky's the limit.
So what happened then?
The story goes that the boss tried to make him a counteroffer by slightly bending the rules.
What do you mean?
He tried to decrease the number of male virgins and tried to increase the number of female ones, which are part of your entitlement.
Shame on violating the balance. But hang on, male virgins? I thought that virgins meant all females in that line of business anyway?
Under what rock have you been living all these years? Affirmative action, equal rights, and all that other crap, of course, dictate an equal distribution of male, female, and other non-binary genders among the service staff.
And you were happy with this arrangement?
Of course not. And he wasn't either. But what really closed the deal with the competition was, and I'm quoting now, the overboarding amount of bureaucracy.
What does this mean?
According to him, two-factor authorization and other new process nonsense really killed the fun in working here. But the real final straw that broke the camel's back in terms of job satisfaction was something about a clock only having 32 instead of 64 bits. Never mind how many requests for long overdue upgrades you put in, so he was gone. But I digress. Back to the order of business. Let me look up your account. Here we go. A pending CAB vote. Are you familiar with the details?
The voice message which your colleague left didn't mention any details. What is this about?
Glad that he mentioned this during the handover. The CAB vote concerns an interstellar bypass. In the process, a planet has to make way. And due to budget issues, the company funding this bypass...
It's not that sorry Moloch project about the destruction of Earth for this bypass, is it?
You know about these shenanigans? Everybody seems to be in on that, down to the last details, but me.
Of course I do. It was all over the headlines few weeks ago, not only in the Nirvana news, so it was hard to miss. What can I do to help?
Moloch has called for a CAB vote, as his Darkside Tech Support subscription hasn't been paid in ages, which normally would rule out any support with such a request. But, as his support contract is still on an ancient version of the paperwork, or stonework, should I say, he can indeed summon a CAB vote on this issue, of which the outcome is binding for the dark side. So if you are familiar with the details already, what's your vote on this?
How did the others vote? Maintaining the balance is wholly even on such an infamous topic.
Sorry, I cannot tell you, as we need a majority for either A or nay. So what's it going to be? A or nay?
My son, don't you understand? The universe rests on the principle of equilibrium. So maintaining a balance, especially on such a delicate issue, means I cannot cast my vote without knowing how the others have voted before me, so that I can maintain the balance by voting appropriately.
Look, but it's either A or nay. I have to have either a majority in favor of rigging Trump's election and subsequent destruction of Earth as a planet or not. There is no in-between.
Then it is nay for me. My religion does not approve the destruction of planets, although balance comes first, of course.
Okay, glad we got that one sorted. Thank you, and call back soon in case you want the balance to be tipped. Just in case, equilibrium, enlightenment, or not. Now, the only one that's missing is God's vote. Let's see what she's up to.
This is God. Hello, Darkside. How are things?
How did you know it was me?
I am God. I know everything. What has been, what is, and what will be. And to answer your question, it is a solid nay for the cab vote.
That was quick and easy. May I?
Of course you may, as your colleague told you during your handover, just before he left what is now your job. I couldn't cast the vote myself, but had to consult the council. Turns out that there's an old animosity against most things Moloch, as it was Moloch who poached some of the bright young rising stars and talked them into joining the competition, as in, the other side. Among this group was a certain archangel known then as Lucifer, and, yes, the answer to your question you were about to ask is yes, indeed.
Moloch founded hell? Ah, yes, of course. And did he put Satan in charge of running the gig?
Bit of a story, I know. But poaching is not exactly the nicest thing to do either, as backfilling these open positions proved to be a royal pain in the butt, especially on such a short notice, as of course none of these who defected put in their notice on time, never mind observing their notice period as stated in their contracts. As I said, a bit of a clusterfuck. To use a technical term, talking about grudges.
So that's sorted then. One final question.
Forget about it. You won't get next week's lotto numbers from me, or any future lotto draw for that matter. Why, you think and ask. Simple. Playing lotto and then winning based on inside intelligence might look like fun at first, but after you spend all that cash on luxury mansions, expensive companionships, and even more expensive recreational substances, you'll turn your thoughts to darker affairs. Way darker than just the next generation of startups concerned with combining the state-of-the-art biological warfare with a general artificial intelligence, which makes the Moloch issue look like a walk in the park. Soon there will be upheaval in the whole quadrant, the council will start to take notice, and there will be an inquiry. And since I can do without this paperwork, never mind the surrounding negative publicity, there will be no lotto numbers for you. Sorry.
Worth
a try, I know, but not happening.
Too bad. Some other time, maybe, in that case.
Do not count on it. Goodbye.
See you. Now, where are we with the votes? Let's see. 2 A's and 3 nays. That's the interstellar bypass gone. Then Earth stays the way it is. Now, the only remaining thing, how to break this to Moloch. Let's try the old sugarcoating tactic.
This is the great Moloch, god of infinite evil and worse. Got you. It's just an answering machine. Unfortunately, I can't come to the phone right now, as I'm busy wreaking havoc on the universe, or doing some other fun things. If you leave a message after the tone, I will get back to you as soon as possible.
Saved by the answering machine, but let's still break this gently to him. This is the Darkside Tech Support speaking. This is in regards to your recent customary advisory board case about the upcoming election on Earth, Sol system. As you may recall, this required a vote from all the parties involved in your CAB. The good news is that the ballot has now been completed, and we do have a result. The bad news is that you may not entirely agree with the outcome of this ballot, although it was a close call. 3 nays against 2 ayes. So, I'm afraid that your request for aid in slanting that upcoming US election has thus been denied. So you'll have to manipulate the election yourself. Never mind destroying Earth as originally intended. Should you have any further questions on this or any other issues, please do not hesitate to reach out again, after you have paid your subscription fees, of course.
What will Moloch have to say? Will the Darkside Tech Support survive his grudge? Will there be a tomorrow? Tune in for the next episode in 2026 when you will hear these famous words again.
This is the Darkside Tech Support. How may I help you?
Martin, we do have some feedback.
We do have some extensive feedback.
We do. So, Martin, let me read it out to you, and then we can discuss this.
Come back in an hour.
Exactly. It's from Coco. The email address will go unnamed. Inlaws, guten Tag. Apparently German. It's me, Cowboy. The same blah blah. And the email address.
Boy.
Yes. I have fun.
That's another one of our listeners. Yeah.
Exactly. I have had a lot of fun listening to the recent episode on something called Linux Inlaws. A Martin that I reckon would be us.
I'm glad he's listening to the right podcast.
Yes.
It's a bonus.
Yeah. Yes, and then he goes on about a few funny stories in Mexico. Unfortunately, Coco, sorry, because of still to be
Mexico and Germany
resolved sponsorship issues. And I explicitly exclude the term cartel here. We cannot possibly go into the details. So we're going to skip right to the important bit, which is actually feedback on the episode of the automotive episode.
Yeah, that's the relevant.
On the feedback on the automotive episode, and I quote, "Of course, at the end of this automotive episode, there was a special surprise, specifically for me. I love how Chris goes in about how I'm the 10th listener recently found. Laughing out loud. Coco, we are glad to have you on board because otherwise it would be 9, I think. Or maybe even less.
6, isn't it? Yeah.
Counting all the previous people we interviewed and had on the panels? Martin, what about marketing? I mean, marketing was supposed to get back to us with a kind of sort of survey or something.
Not marketing. Survey.
Unless you fired them once again, Martin. I don't know.
I hope so.
Okay, I'm afraid that marketing statistics are out of the question at the moment. So,
marketing aside, Coco mentions a few other things, which is
yes, he did.
That he re-listens to all the episodes and he is always learning, finds us very valuable. So,
yes, and if I could continue just to quote.
If you fell asleep the first time, you have to re-listen. Yeah, like
yes, I usually think that this joke is funny, but today, for me, it had an extra effect. But for explaining this, we would have to quote the previous 27,557 lines, if my word count is correct. But of course, core utils have known to be wrong. So, Coco, sorry, jokes aside, we're going to skip the details. So glad to receive this feedback. But there's a very important sentence at the very end. I think I already told you that I was in the shower. No, yes, you did. But as usual, we neglected to mention that actually as part of feedback. You can listen
wherever you like, really. We're not restricting listening locations.
You see, we are all affirmative action, equal rights, and all the rest of it. So you can listen wherever you want.
Indeed.
Actually. And if you're haggling with the cartel in terms of negotiating prices or something like that, yes, you can also listen to the episodes while doing the negotiations, goes without saying. And now the most important bit, Martin, comes actually. I was laughing. You see, this is why we do the podcast, no?
This is why we do the podcast. Luckily, some of our listeners also find it funny.
Exactly. Some of our listeners may find this funny, but also some of our listeners may take away something.
Yeah.
You see, the important bit, and I'll get philosophical right now, is actually...
At least one anyway. Yeah.
Exactly. You see, the thing is basically, if there's one listener, Coco or not, that comes away with a changed mind, after listening to the podcast in comparison to prior listening to the podcast, I think we've achieved our goal, no? Especially when it comes down to sharing ideas, contributing code, and making the world a better place. Deep thought mode on.
Yeah, I can always hope. Yeah. Indeed. I think that was the feedback, wasn't it?
No, Martin has been apparently infiltrated by marketing because he's not in that deep thought mode, which is okay. Don't worry about it. But the point that I'm making is, people, we do appreciate that sort of feedback.
We do,
philosophical or not, exactly. So anything coming up.
Yep.
Apart from the grumpy old quarters, which have been flooding us with feedback. No, I'm joking. Thomas and David. Keep sending. Anyway.
They're too busy, aren't they? They're too busy to make even their own episodes.
Indeed. I know that you're listening anyway, so we're looking forward to having you on the podcast. Needless to say, slow mode on. We are looking forward to having you on the podcast once again. Okay. And with that, Martin, is there anything else we should talk about with regards to this lovely Halloween episode?
See, listen to Halloween, yeah. Halloween.
Probably people have been listening to this Halloween episode all along, so
re-listen to it in case you missed some of it.
Exactly. And sorry about any fans of Vladessa. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it for this year's Halloween episode. But, very important,
she'll be back.
Spoiler alert, there will be a special episode with Vladessa next year. So stay tuned and watch your RSS feed. And with Martin, since we're not having
happy Halloween, yes.
Exactly. Since we're not having epoxies tonight, happy Halloween. This is the Linux Inlaws.
You come for the knowledge,
but stay for the madness. Thank you for listening. This podcast is licensed under the latest version of the Creative Commons license, type Attribution Share Alike. Credits for the intro music go to Blue Sea Roosters for their song Salute Margaret, to Twin Flames for their piece called The Flow, used for the segment intros, and finally to Celestial Ground for their song Sweet Justice, used by the Darkside. You find these and other ditties licensed under CC at Jamendo, a website dedicated to liberate the music industry from choking copyright legislation and other crap concepts. Sorry, what?
I still don't have any beer. Anyway, carry on.
Martin, let's not complain about the beer at the moment.
Well, it's very
while I'm enjoying my hazy chilled right from the fridge. Anyway,
well, there is no fridge. This is very bad. There's just some stupid cupboard with nothing in it. Well, no, it's got a kettle.
Would it be possible to focus on the recording for a change? I'm just wondering, that's all.
It's a bit tricky. You can try.
So you want to take 5 minutes to get a beer first, from wherever?
I may take longer than that. It's,
okay.
There is no beer menu. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
Oh, Martin, hang on. Are you
I'm hanging on.
Into an alcoholic, I wonder? But
No.
the sort of it you are.
No. I'm just
Are you
thirsty.
sure?
Just thirsty. I have been traveling for like 500 hours.
Why don't you drink water or Coke or something?
I have water. It's not quite as refreshing as beer.
That's a misconception.
And there is no Coke because there's no fridge, as I already mentioned.
Yes, Martin, you did.
Glad you paid attention. What's with the .25 anyway?
What?
What's with the .25?
It's a joke.
How?
Martin, it's a fraction.
Yes,
no customer number does have a fraction. Okay.
Okay, there's no specific meaning to it.
No, Martin, there is not.
Okay. Just checking.
It's a joke.
I'm not that familiar with. I know the 666 bit, but yeah.
What happened? Yeah, but what happened to your Darkside Tech Support account? You lost it, right? Probably you didn't pay the subscription fees. Similar to Moloch.
Where does it say this?
Martin, read the fine print of your contract.
Can't see it. It says, let me get your contract, is what it says. Anyway. Moloch founded hell.
That's the question, Mr. Visser. As in, Moloch founded hell?
But surely he did, if he's the god of
yes,
evil. Anyway.
But Martin, again, a question,
right.
not a statement.
This guy's not very bright, is he?
Don't worry about this.
Okay. All right. Why do you have an election if you're going to destroy it? Anyway.
Martin, it's a sketch.